Star Trek First Contact on 4K Blu-ray. This is day 5 of 30 of my 30 days of Star Trek reviews. So here we go. Star Trek First Contact on 4K. All right, so just right off the bat, compared to this set of yesteryear, the 4K is a gigantic upgrade. The Blu-ray, the color grading, made everybody just look sick, and on the 4K, during the Berlioz scene, it just the colors come alive. This movie, it's like you're seeing the movie for the first time. It looks really, really good on 4K. There were several scenes that were pretty jaw-dropping, and I was surprised at the level of detail and how the colors pop and the lights and darks pop on the 4K. I know a phone really can't do it, but just the color and the costumes look so good.
Berlioz.
I couldn't resist that Berlioz part. I love that. And if you go to that song on YouTube, you can just see the comments are all full of people going to that song because of this movie. Anyway, so this scene in particular, just between Picard and Riker talking, just the color and the detail and the depth is astounding. I just feel like you're actually seeing into this movie depth wise. So this is a gigantic upgrade over the older Blu-rays. A note on the audio, and again, this isn't like a scientific comparison, this is just what I see in here, but what I noticed on the audio between the older Blu-ray and this is that this just sounds like more full, just bigger and more full, whereas the other one sounded almost like you were, compared to this one, the other one just sounded smaller, like you were listening to it out of a little box. It wasn't horrible at the time, but this sounds more full. I don't know how to describe it. So video and audio wise, huge upgrade. It was a joy to watch this movie in 4K. This movie never gets old, and the runtime flies by. I have the 2 Star Trek movies that I have on my phone that I frequently watch are Star Trek 4 and this one. I can just watch those 2. I like all of them, but those 2 in particular, I can just over and over and over. Just a quick note on their costumes. This is my favorite version of the Next Generation uniform with the gray bumpy on top, the new badge, and then the color of their, department. You've got command, engineering, and science, or whatever they are in this version of the show, but they have that as a kind of a really thin, zippery long sleeve shirt underneath, and then this cool jacket over the top. So yeah, I like the costumes in this one. This space battle at the beginning of the movie just blew my mind. It was seriously like seeing it for the first time. There was so much more detail in everything. All the lasers just had more detail, or I guess phasers. They just had more detail inside of them. And then I was watching it on Dolby Vision, and just all the explosions and lasers and everything were so bright, but you could actually see details of what's happening inside of them, so nothing was washed out. It looks so good. Love this shot right here. Oh, and you're gonna see the Millennium Falcon here in a second. There it just went right there. Oh, it's hidden. See if I can unpause it. Anyways, it's on. So let's zoom out a little bit here. So when the Defiant, so this ship right here, is doing its little wiggly back and forth, shooting up the side of it right here. If you look to the left of the Borg cube over here, when this little explosion happens, the Millennium Falcon, the actual digital model of the Millennium Falcon, flies from behind the Borg cube and goes across right here. So I'll rewind it so we can see that. All right, here we go. Look for the Millennium Falcon. See right there? Okay, it's right here. I'm going to go in slow motion. See it flying across there. right there. That is the actual digital model of the Millennium Falcon. Pretty sure that's John Knoll that did that. Seriously though, this battle is so cool on 4K. I just loved it. You could just let it go in slow motion because there's just so many details happening in this thing. And here's this guy. Hey, buddy. Oh, you're supposed to be in bed. Go to sleep. Oh, is that funny? Is that funny? Go to bed. Oh, he's so sweet. Also, I love that the music, you can hear the little Klingon theme in the music once you see Worf.
Report! Main power's offline. We've lost shields.
You hear that?
Weapons are gone.
Anyway, so you get the original like Klingon theme from the motion picture. So cool. Jerry Goldsmith music in this is so good. I also have the soundtrack on my phone. So, I mean, clearly I'm biased. I freaking love this movie. It never, ever gets old. I think this is not just a great Star Trek movie, but this is like one of the best movies around. So once again, the ultimate TV dad, Captain Picard, boop, gives us a really amazing example of leadership and assertiveness. So the Admiral's ship was just destroyed, and then check out Picard here.
This is Captain Picard of the Enterprise. I'm taking command of the fleet. Target all of your weapons onto the following coordinates.
Here he goes.
Fire.
Look how cool this looks! Oh my gosh, I could stay on this space battle forever. Those quantum triticale torpedoes. Yes, Mo, if you're watching, I still have your model. I still play with it when no one's looking and when some people are looking. So when the Enterprise is caught in the temporal wake behind the Borg sphere, you can see assimilated Earth in the 24th century, and it looks like all the water is either brown or dried up, and then the land masses look like they're all covered in like metal and stuff. So it's like, that's what an assimilated planet looked like. That looks awful. It's like all just like looks toxic and everything. Anyway, this image actually of this Earth inspired a visual that I tried to portray in a story I wrote in college. So I'm actually really happy with the day that I watched this movie on. I watched it on April 5th, which is officially First Contact Day in 2063. And you learn that right here.
Missile complex. The date. Data. I need to know the exact date. April 4th, 2063. April 4th. The day before first contact. Precisely.
Then the missile complex must be where...
Aha! Yes! I always feel so festive. It's like the time I watched Back to the Future 2 on October 21st, 2015. It's like, that will never come again. Anyway, April 5th is the perfect day to watch this movie. Because it's First Contact Day. Actually, every day is the perfect day to watch this movie. Let's not kid ourselves. Also, quick note on the explosions. They just blew up the Borg sphere. This movie has great, chunky explosions every single time. It's excellent. So I'm not sure exactly why this shot in particular, but it just struck me while I was watching. Just the color timing of the new 4K just looks so good and so natural compared to the Blu-ray. Like I said, they do look sickly, but just this shot in general, when it showed it, just how natural everything looks and how correct everything looks, I was just like, wow, this is the best way to watch this movie since theaters. Also, I think Riker must have softened up on his away team mission policy of not letting the captain go, because Captain Picard's like, I'm going down there, I'm going on the away mission, and then he just like leaves the ship. He's like, Riker, you got it up here, and he's just like, phew, I'm gonna go. And it's like, it just seems like maybe Riker softened up on the, no, Captain, you don't go on away missions, because he just took off. He's like, I'm going. And I was like, okay, I guess we'll disregard that. But they do switch places. He does go back up to the ship, and Riker comes down on the ground. All right. So just a quick note on the tone of this movie. So it's a crazy balance between like humor and sci-fi and horror. Like down here, a lot of the stuff on Earth is actually pretty funny, where up on the ship it's just like total horror sci-fi. And the movie does amazing at balancing the different tones. Like neither tone messes up the other one, they actually enhance each other. And then along with those tones, you have multiple stories going on. Like you have Lily doing her thing, and then she joins up with Picard, and then you have the rest of the ship going on, and then down on the ground with Zephram Cochrane. There's so many cool, interesting stories going on with different tones. This movie is so well made. But this scene right here, Riker, Jonathan Frakes, the director of the movie, this is... So he's meeting Zephram Cochrane for the first time, and Deanna's totally drunk. But this scene is so amazing. I just watch his face as he reacts to everything around him. So we'll see if we can get away with showing this part. Just look at his face. This is the best.
Friend of yours?
Yes.
Husband?
No.
Good. Now this, Dina.
Deanna.
This is the good stuff.
Dr. Cochrane.
To the Phoenix. May she rest in peace.
Just watch how he's reacting to everything. He's watching her drink. Look at his face.
Oh. Okay. That wasn't so good.
Well, I think we have to tell him the truth.
Yeah, just that whole thing. Just watching him look back and forth in between them, and watch his head following everything that Zephram Cochrane's throwing all over the place. That is a beautiful bit of acting right there, and I love that scene. I just want to point out what a great warrior Worf is. Look at this perfect center of mass impact on this Borg. Check this out. Got him right in the middle. Perfect shot, Worf. So one thing I always like to do anytime they're showing the Borg areas of the ship is I like to play Spot the Assimilated Crew Member that you saw earlier in the movie, Not Assimilated. So this guy is one of the guys in engineering, and it's fun to just see him be like, hey, there's that one guy. There's Porter. Just be like, oh, he's assimilated now.
But unless you make that warp flight tomorrow morning before 11:15, none of it will happen.
And you people, you're all astronauts on some kind of Star Trek.
He said the thing. He said the thing.
Maximum setting. If you fired this, you would have vaporized me.
It's my first ray gun.
The Borg Queen's introduction is so dang cool. Look at that.
I am the beginning, the end.
That's disgusting and beautiful and terrifying. Just like seamlessly. Look at... He lands in there and just starts walking. Look at that! It's so good! The special effects are amazing. Look at her awesome silver eyes.
Greetings.
So Lily asks how much the Enterprise costs. And I love the idea of what Picard's saying, but just based on what I know about the Star Trek universe at large, like with gold pressed latinum and people buying and selling stuff and people going on shore leave and buying stuff, I think he's oversimplifying the economics of the future to her. He's definitely emphasizing just what the Federation believes about money, but I don't think what he's saying is an absolute.
How much does this thing cost?
The economics of the future are somewhat different. You see, money doesn't exist in the 24th century.
No money. You mean you don't get paid?
The acquisition of wealth is no longer the driving force in our lives.
All right, so I like the idea behind it, that the people in the Federation are trying to better themselves and better humanity, but I think him saying money doesn't exist in the 24th century is a simplification for her, and it's kind of specifically for the members of the Federation, that's how they live. But money does exist in the 24th century. Like, you see it in Deep Space Nine, and they talk about it in Next Generation. They talk about it in the last movie in Star Trek 7. So I think he's just trying to help her understand that like he said, money's no longer the driving force in our lives. So I think he's just trying to help her understand where they're at with money, like what they think about it. But this scene's always, it's kind of bugged me a little. Like, it's like inspiring, but also annoying. It's inspiring because it's like, oh wow, what would it be to live like that? But it's annoying because in the Star Trek universe, it's like, no, you guys totally have money. Okay, this scene. So I love the holodeck, and I love that they're dressed up in swanky Dixon Hill cosplaying clothes. But is he just trying to get a hold of a Tommy gun? So he's going through this elaborate thing so that he can turn off the safety protocols, send projectiles into these Borgs, and then rip their guts out to get their neural processor. It's like, if he was doing that, why doesn't he just walk in there, just generate a Tommy gun, turn off the safety? Like, he has to go through this whole, like, dress up of Dixon Hill and stealing the gun from one of the gangster guys and the dancing. And I will say this scene is awesome and it's fun, but if the whole point of going in the holodeck is just to grab a machine gun and shoot these guys, then I think this is a little bit overkill. Yeah, speaking of overkill, when he machine guns the guys, it's definitely overkill. But I wonder why he has to go into Dixon Hill to get a Tommy gun to shoot this person to get the neural processor. So that, I guess that's what I'm wondering. I would not cut the scene because I love the scene. This part, weirdly, is very applicable in life.
Nicky the nose.
He's looking for Nicky the nose.
Here in months. This is the wrong chapter. Computer, begin chapter 13.
Okay, so he's in the wrong chapter, and I feel like that's applicable in life. Like, sometimes you're in the wrong place, whether it's like personally, socially, career-wise, just like day to day, and like you can feel it. And this part in this movie just comes up where I'm just like, I'm in the wrong chapter. You know, like, this isn't where I'm supposed to be today. And I always think of this part in here. Anyway, so now he's going to go get a Tommy gun. And this is the cool thing about this movie, is you just don't know what you're going to see. Like, here's Picard in a tuxedo with a Tommy gun. So cool. And I don't think this scene would be in a movie nowadays. That's a very crowded party. And I mean, it seems like most people are running and ducking, but you can see a lot of the impacts around and in the background. He definitely hits the Borg, but this is pretty crazy automatic weapon in a crowd like that. But it's really cool.
Historical monument. You're standing almost on the exact spot where your statue's gonna be.
Statue?
Oh yeah. It's marble, about 20 meters tall, and you're looking up at the sky, and your hands sort of reaching toward the future.
So the crew down on the ground, they're trying to get Zephram Cochrane to live up to his potential and to do his mission and to realize how important he is. And I love this part. Geordi tells him about the statue, and he realizes he doesn't want to be a statue. He even says that. But Geordi describes the statue as we just saw. But one thing that I think is awesome is in the Star Trek customizable card game, you actually get the Zephram Cochrane memorial statue. Like, look at that. 20 meters is big for a statue, but yeah, this is a fun game. So I thought it would be fun to show that. You get to see him reenacting the statue, and then you see the actual rendering of the statue there. Can I just say, Lieutenant Hawk is the fastest assimilation in Borg history. Look at this. Look at all that stuff. He's already got a tube in there. Here's one of my favorite things, is when Star Trek drops world-building exposition. So Riker sees the moon, and he's going to talk about what the moon's like in the 24th century.
What, you don't have a moon in the 24th century?
Sure we do.
Just looks a lot different. There are 50 million people living on the moon in my time. You see Tycho City, New Berlin, even Lake Armstrong in a day like this.
So cool. I just love it. It just builds the world so well. And it's so awesome to imagine like looking up at the moon and seeing like a big old lake on there. I'm not gonna lie, this part where Lily talks to Picard about how he is acting like Captain Ahab, this scene alone really propelled me through the book of Moby Dick, which is a very, very good book, but it's a very difficult book. And just the fact that this scene talked about it, I'm like, I can do it. I gotta push. I gotta get to the quote that Picard said. Anyway, it's a cool comparison. Also, my wife mentioned that Lily, the actress that plays Lily in this scene, does an incredible job. I think she could win like an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for this movie. Like, no kidding. All right, so he throws a fit and breaks some of his ships, and then sets his phaser rifle down there, which is symbolic of him knowing when to quit the fight. So that's actually pretty cool. But speaking of broken model pieces all over the floor, one time, as a younger man, but as a boy, I was climbing. My older brother would make models, Star Trek models, and I decided I want to play with them, and he would always hide them from me up in his top layer of his closet. So I climbed up his entire closet, and I was reaching for the box of models, and I grabbed it and dropped them and broke all of them. I can still remember it was the Enterprise A, very well painted with battle damage on there. It was a Klingon battle cruiser, like the gray one from the motion picture. And gosh, what else? I mean, it was at least those two. They fell down and broke. So, sorry if you're watching this. Look at the doors to the escape pods. To me, they look like the bottom of a sled, like a plastic snow sled that's just been painted gray. Check it out.
Beverly Crusher. Confirm order to
Look at that.
sequence authorization.
Those look like
Crusher
sleds.
22 Beta
Those
Charlie.
are sleds. They just painted them gray.
Lieutenant Commander.
Gosh, just when you think Picard can't be a more incredible example of a man, he goes and does this right here.
Lily, when I was held captive on the Borg ship, my crew risked everything to save me. There is someone still on this ship, and I owe him the same.
Beautiful. Man, these movies have such good examples of people being noble and self-sacrificing and taking care of each other. They're so inspiring. This is so rare nowadays for any movie or media to have anything like this. So that's one thing I love about Star Trek is just the morals of the Federation and the people in it, which is why Picard season 1 was so disgusting to me. Just the reason Picard got out of Starfleet and then the way that the people still in Starfleet treat him just does not feel right. So anyway, this movie and the way it portrays people and Picard putting himself on the line once again to put someone else's life above his, so inspiring. Love it. Here we go, first contact day.
Captain's log, April the 5th, 2063. The voyage of the Phoenix was a success.
I don't know why. I just feel so festive when I watch this movie on April 5th, actual first contact day. Here's the aliens that make first contact. It's a Vulcan, yay! Hey, have you ever wondered what this guy's name is? I'll tell you. It's Solkar. Look at him. Here he is. He's right there. That's his name. Now you know. You're welcome. All right, thank you so much for watching. This movie looks incredible on 4K. Absolutely transformative, significant upgrade, outstanding color, depth, contrast, the Dolby Vision, the HDR, the sound, everything. Plus the movie itself is incredible. So this is an essential upgrade if you're a fan of this movie. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of this movie. I think it's one of the greatest. Anyway, I love watching it, and I'm so happy I watched it on First Contact Day. So this has been your day 5 of 30 for my 30 days of Star Trek reviews. So stay tuned for more, and thanks for watching. Talk to you later. Bye.